Today is March 27th, 2026. Today is the 1 year anniversary that agent was outside my work after midnight. Announced there's a couple Michelles involved in this. Okay. There was a real pretty one that I found out that had been dating an agent. And she had told him on March 27th, 2025, that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. She actually don't know who he is. What's HIPAA? No doctor could be with them. It's a federal crime. Doctors can't talk about you. They can't work for people trying to kill you. Come on now. When they had bashed in my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent, and it didn't work. And as soon as she told him, he broke up with her. He'd also got it out of my ex-husband that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory. She'd have free insurance to use. And he could give her extra money. The woman using my insurance running up medical bills wasn't a stranger. It was one of Dave's girlfriends, and they were scamming me the whole time. Half my medical records are one of his ex-girlfriends. The whole marriage was a scam. I had chest pains for days. He also got it out of that family that was telling people that it offended him that Strange called me a faker 6 months after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with. Ask him why on earth would you say that? They said it didn't even concern them. They just made it up. So people would help out. They just lied. Lisa's father killed her kid. She wasn't even there. They just lied about everything so everybody would help out. That's why I say this is the case of the dumb people that lied. But you gotta think. I want you to think about this. Now, them going in that agent's office was the biggest theatrical stunt in the world. They probably all rehearsed, like a Christmas play, Easter play, what they'd say and how they'd act. It was all planned out to the T. So it would be a little drama show for them. Think about this. It was a big show. Big skit they put on for them. Like they do Christmas plays. Easter plays. It's just a skit. Because what they did to me is Twilight. Special permission tapes of photoshopping, washing, date rape drugs, hypnotic drugs, and told to say stuff. Fake dirty doctors breaking HIPAA. It's Twilight Zone. I told you, Strange hated the government. Absolutely hated them. Government's evil. They'll take your children. They'll brainwash them. The government's evil. You have to bury your guns in the backyard in pipes. They'll come in your house and take them. Well, the evil government, he hated his son's mistress, Katie. Her mom's Mary, her niece, Michelle. That's wrapped up in drugs with her dad, Henry, Mafia, Will Guy, and dad to drug dealers. Her aunt, Anita, and Strange's niece, Pam. And then that family, using their tragedy to manipulate people, walked in the biggest skit they planned out and probably rehearsed in his office. Because you got to think, I had 4 attempts in my life. It didn't work. Where? November 23rd, 25, Summit Mall. Okay. Some girls show up. We came down to let everyone know. This whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was already connected to us. We asked him if they could do it to her. He said yes, if they made sure he'd get everything in the divorce. And it was just a scam to extort money from the government. Well, that pretty Michelle that was dating that agent showed up April 17th, 25. Screamed it out in Sheetz parking lot in Hartville, having a meltdown because she really liked that guy. Okay. They started to threaten to kill her. And she went badass on him. Badass. Investigators showing up. Her friends find out anything. She tells them. That's how you stop people like this. You tell them. So the police can get them more the facts. That's how you stop them. December 1st, 25, Walmart 62. An investigator comes in, taping audio through the whole store. They keep them for years. Michelle showed up in my office, said these people confessed. This whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved, and that the doctor from before was not one of mine. Works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. And she actually does not know who he is. And that guy, Pete, that was in his office, is just some guy Dave hired on his own, and she doesn't even know who he is. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her and drugged her and told her to say it before. And they photoshopped washing herself in the shower, and put it in another room to make her look weird with herself. They photoshopped it. The whole thing was just a scam to extort money from the government. Okay, with that being said, everyone that walked into that FBI office was there for what? To extort money from the government. Why they were there. You got to think where they kicked in my door on that 6-day setup behind camera stalking me. That's a big crime. Like 7 to 15 years. Felony evasion of privacy. There's no such thing as an attorney being allowed in someone's home. It's actually they get disbarred and criminally charged. These people lie. Basin agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements in a court order. Even the FBI go to jail for being in your home. Outside one of those. It's a felony invasion of privacy. You take anything these idiots say, put it on Google. What is the jail sentence for? It usually comes up federal crimes. Get the idea? All right. So by the second week, I'm covered in bruises. The well water's orange. It took us a couple months to get the water treatment system in there. We brought in bottled water to cook and drink, but you have to take a fast shower. You have to wash your hands after you use the bathroom. By the second week, I got bruises on me. Throwing up, severely infected, dizzy, almost passing out. Only thing new to me is at home. And they have me so drugged up because I never seen her talk to anybody. I thought the well water was killing me. Giving me cancer. I kept telling the doctor that, trying to make sense. Why I'm sick and bruised and infected. The only thing that's touching my skin is that well water. Never seen her talk to anybody. These people laughed. I think it was like last September. In Walmart 62. They were hiding behind doors and would reach out and jab her. She don't even remember being jabbed. They worked that fast. 45 seconds. Hypnotic drugs shuts down your conscious. You're sleepwalking. You can drive a car, talk, eat, cook. You have sex. It's like the perfect date rape drug. Talk. Everything. No memory whatsoever. Complete amnesia. to rock somebody up and tell them to say something. And they'll never, ever remember anything. Causes sleepwalking with a metal taste in your mouth when it wears off. Okay. August 7th, 25, they would have that. Investigators come in, how they got him taped, admitting to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. She'd have no memory of these people, and calling Agent John a coward. Now, with them breaking in, stabbing me as I walk by a room, and I don't even know they're in my home. They're beating and raping me. They could have killed me, but they didn't. They could have kidnapped me from my own home, made it look like a kidnapping, found my body somewhere else, but they didn't. They had all the opportunity to do it, but they didn't. What they did is set up this big scam. And what else did they do? Scare me into calling the FBI. Why? Because they were planning on running a scam on the FBI. The government that Strange hated. Get the idea? Okay? Now, what they did is put on the biggest act of their life. Performance. The biggest performance in the world. They probably rehearsed it. It was all set up. April 19th, 25, Hartville. Investigators. How dumb are these people? You wouldn't believe how dumb they are trying this. Nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam, taping unaware, confessing her crimes, sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce. Then you tell she was drugged and parts sounded mechanical. And we knew it was all them and not her. Nobody ever fell for the tape of weird with yourself. We knew it was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower. But if they were going to be that dumb, and try this with us, we told Agent John to go tell that church on her and act dumb like these people. See, that's where the beginning of the case, where that agent was so mean to me on the phone. Investigators showed up. That agent was so mean to you on the phone because he was acting that way to make sure that you weren't part of these people defrauding him. He was going to go after them. See, that's what the cops always said, that it was supposed to be an act. It wasn't supposed to be real. I want you to think about that. Then think what he did. Okay? And soon as now, April 19th, 25, they said, soon as she called the FBI hotline, those people immediately walked into an FBI office and confessed. They were illegally monitoring her on their own. They were all ready to go. They were waiting for their big performance. I want you to chew on that one for a minute. The whole thing was a performance. Planned and down to the T what they were going to do. See, what they did to me is Twilight Zone. Stalking tapes with photoshopping and washing. Hypnotic drugs and told to say stuff. Fake dirty doctors breaking up. It's Twilight. I've talked to retired sheriffs. No law enforcement would fall for that. Exactly. They walk into an FBI office. I found out they offered him a bribe. Taped him taking the bribe. And where March 30th, 25, the guy in my old apartment on North Chapel Street said he was in the office when they met with that agent, told Amy and Harry. And when that agent asked her, if she knew anything about this doctor from before, she said she didn't know who he was and what he was talking about. He knew she was lying. I wasn't the one lying. So he turned her back over to us. Said he didn't care what we did. That's attempted murder. Do you know what those people did? They taped him, acting like he was going along with it. Where they've been breaking, they've been blackmailing him. They got an agent in their pocket. In 22, they said they set him up to be arrested. They announced it that they were going to be going after him for defrauding me, for telling on me, for calling the FBI hotline, bullying me on a recorded line, made me beg for my life, list me informant with money and immunity, and then threatened me if I told, even though he's confessed everybody already knew, and then it's considered blackmail. If an agent tells an informant, a victim, or a witness they can't say anything, it's blackmail. 20 to 30 years. They have him nailed. They have that agent nailed for like 100 years if it's not an act. And then they want the surveillance thrown out. He had no right around. Started up again last year. They were coming for him. Wanted the drug dealers released. They got off the case. They want it released. They want them released. That they get him arrested. And they were going to sue for false arrest and a fraud. He was defrauding her the whole time. Had no right around her. And you can't use fraud. So all those drug dealers get released, and then they're going to sue for false arrest and fraud for millions of dollars. And they announced it. Now they're at it. Judge Peters Group from Florida. Without a call. Now I want you to think how not funny this is. There's a real case, May 30th, 25. 1 o'clock in the morning. Louisville police are outside my apartment. I hear talking. I look out the window. Ladies with them part of the extortion group. Said I was going to trick her out of a bunch of money. Tricking somebody out of a bunch of money is a big crime, lady. Confessing that to the cops is stupid. Part of the extortion group. Found out she knew surveillance laws. Can't trick her out of money. Then how she was setting Dixie and Melissa up to go to jail for this. It's like, leave the dumb girls alone. And said the investigators found May 26, 25. Walmart still have it. Cartel coming in said this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemason. Officer gets out of his vehicle. She mentioned Bill from the Freemasons. The whole thing is a scam. Said it's the whole thing is a scam. The dirty doctor from before not being one of hers works for them and they had lied. And the whole thing is a scam. The whole thing is a scam. She mentioned Bill from the Freemasons. Was talking. And then they went on about some more stuff that was said in there. And then they said the investigators found the original case. Said her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. I know. Right on Google, if an attorney sets up button cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred immediately. Criminally charged with voyeurism, sex offenders, felony invasion of privacy, cyber stalking, and wiretapping. Oh, good 7 to 20 years. Without the drugs and everything else. If you hire an attorney to set up button cameras in someone's home, same thing. It can't be hired to do it. It's a federal crime. It goes into it because it goes into try to get money out of sextortion. 7 to 15 for that one, sweetie. I have learned so much about different laws, jail times. What am I going to do when I have a normal life again? I'll have to Google these idiots and what they're doing. Okay. September 23rd, 2018 to about October 5th of 2018, Witness Protection Program threatened attempt to lie case, Starr County Courthouse. Starr County judge signed it. FBI informant. Little tiny case, threat and attempt to life case for an FBI informant for threat and attempt to life. Witness protection program. Money and immunity. Ordered by a judge. Okay. See, that's where, who the hell was in Tuscarawas County Courthouse, September 10th, 25, telling Judge Lori down there that she's the biggest liar. Her case was nothing but fraud. Do you know an FBI agent calls this case fraud? He can go to jail like 20 years. He opens up a fraud case. It's 20 years. It's defrauding government. And no one's everyone's to get even with her. It's illegal for law enforcement to get even with you. Walk by the door, one of those weirdos. I had the right to do all those things to her. No, you didn't. And then some guy in the prosecutor's office, I want her to hate her husband. I want her to have nothing when I get done with her. I want her to have nothing. Psycho. A lot of hate for someone you never met. Wasn't that ugly horse-ass face Henry Moffey, was it? Where I found out the doctor from before, that wasn't one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. Last week I was in Myers in Alliance. Some lady, I walk out the bathroom, she's on the phone, no one say a word. The doctor from before was that guy that said he never met her in person. And other people later on, it's Dave's girlfriend's dad pretending to be a doctor. He's a jackass. Haven't met him in person, had a complete conversation in person. I think he may have shaved his head and face for disguise. Because I went out to mourn McDonald's on 62 the other day. There was a guy in there mocking me. The indented cheekbones, like what I seen January 1926, that Henry Moffey, the picture I seen from Instagram. He's a lot thinner, and his face is sunken in. That guy's face was sunken in, but he didn't have any hair on his face or thing. I think he may have cut all his hair off to disguise himself. I walk out of the ladies' bathroom waiting for Carl to come out the men's, and some guy went, "Hey, the men's room's over to the left. Why don't you go in where you belong?" I just looked over and he started laughing. When I walked in, they were saying shit. Now, after the case started, they had said a lie. During that, a family when the kid got killed, that accident during that funeral, she stood up in the middle of it and yelled, "God heal me," and walked around. My God, that is a lie. I didn't get well till July. And after that, and how bad it devastated them, boy, were they lying their ass off. And how he fell for that whole hawking bullshit. They were all lying. The big drama they were putting on. I was still on fentanyl patches. June 11th, 2003, I got a refill on my prescription. It's 100 times stronger than morphine. So that kid died May 3rd, 2003. Why would I need fentanyl patches in June? They were playing everybody for fools. Fools. I want you to think about that. March 20th, 26, Walmart West Husk. There's an investigator that's been around me for years. I know his voice. He was talking. He said, "You know, I haven't found this one bit funny since over a year ago. That agent showed up and told me that family told him that they were lying about everything, And it never offended them, and they were lying for people to help out. So they played that guy like a fool, just like the agent, like a fool. And I don't believe she ever threatened Katie. I've listened to Karen. The way Karen thinks that Dave never dated her. Well, he never did he? See, apostolic religions, you can only divorce for adultery or death. It's the only way you get out of the only way you get out of a marriage is adultery or death. I could have left. Huh? I could have left. I could have sued him. See what I mean? I know. December 9th, 18, I told Dave I've never caught him with anyone. There was no one to threaten. And then I went to threaten him. I divorced the bastard. Apostolic religions, you only get out of a marriage by death or adultery. All right. That was the biggest drama and the biggest lies, too. I haven't talked to that girl in 15 years and only said hi with Dave walking by the mall. She cheated with my brother-in-law Tim since 2000, probably 1. My sister wouldn't confront him. She knows they're cheating. She won't say a word. So we just avoided the whole family. Only acknowledge him if you have to. Made my sister cry. Then she made up a bunch of lies of Dave cheating on her in 2011. And all kinds of crazy crap. And Dave got mad enough he quit his church. So we were in the mall, where she worked. We'd walk on the other side of the kiosk so she couldn't say we said anything. I told you it's been at least 15 years since she walked by the mall, and Dave and I probably said hi. If we had to, we avoided her like the plague. Never threatened her. Wouldn't have gave her the time of day or the breath out of my air, out of my lungs. What would you threaten her for? Like they said, I never caught him. With anybody. December 9th, 18. It's already been debunked. Years ago. Everything's been debunked years ago. Years and years ago. Yesterday, that Michelle and Lauren, the ones that were lying that they were Dave's illegitimate children, that they grew up with nothing, so they were going to make sure that I had nothing. Now, if they were really Dave's illegitimate children, their mother would have sued for child support. Was what Dave made. And then I would have divorced him. But they were riding with Judge Peter's group from Florida, the big truck guys that said they were human traffickers and they were helping sell little kids and women. They're human traffickers trying to scam the government out of money and everybody to help the human traffickers, Judge Peter's group. Today, people mention the scam of Melissa. Melissa's already been debunked too. 100 times over. The beginning of the case, 2 men walked around me and they were mentioning they work for a drug lord. You want the cops and the feds' attention? You sit and mention you work for a drug lord, they'll follow you. They'll follow you everywhere. And they were in Walmart. Melissa said she'd have the kids lie to help us get away with this. No way. Yeah, I talked to her. I had her make up, and they're laughing. Well, guess what that got Melissa? The feds' attention. They caught her. Then on Thanksgiving of 18, an illegally bugged house. Okay? The kids are playing boo in the basement. They're taking one of us down at a time to yell, boo, scare us. They're little, so we're entertaining them. My turn to go down, everybody jumps out and yells, boo. I'm on the 3rd step up. I hear, the house wasn't meant for Grandma. It It was meant for Auntie Shaw and Papa. Mary sneezed Michelle. Grandma needs to get up. I look down. They're all in a huddle, saying crazy Gram. So I go back upstairs. I think they thought I would wait and listen. I didn't. So I didn't know what they were going to say. I went up and sat down. I thought I have to die for a show. Who the hell is show? Flora comes running up. They're saying mean things in the basement. I go up to John. What's going on? He said, I don't know. I told Melissa you're moving out, going through a divorce. She'll have the kids make up something, but don't worry about it, Mom. No one can say anything bad about you. She'll have her church people make up something too, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It'd just be made up because of the divorce. Shouldn't have said anything till it happened, but I did. And since nobody can say anything bad about you, don't worry about it. He shoots me. So to cover all bases, I taped Dave admitting I hadn't been around anybody for more than 5 minutes for the whole year. And not alone. And he defends me. Karen, you're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids, you would never hurt anyone. You're good to everyone, no matter who it is. And he even said, we were talking about how John said they'll probably have them make up something because of the divorce. He said that'd be pretty scummy of her. Dave even said that. Okay? Pretty rotten. Okay? Alright, so the police and the FBI have that. They all know, like Officer Mark, after the Thanksgiving of 18, the cops and the feds were in Walmart 62. Why are they having the kids make that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her out of giving up the house. That's it. Our whole family spoke highly of her. Then Melissa's so stupid. She made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Officer Mark, Melissa could go to jail for involving herself in this. I'd hate to arrest her. Kids are little. Why don't we just write it up that her and the kids were showing off for Dave and his new girlfriend? They're documented in games of pretend. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no police report. There's no pictures of injuries. There's nothing. Because they were mean jokes. They called them out in other Walmarts how sick it was. I'm sitting around laughing, making up stuff behind Karen's back. She's risking her life to save everyone. And they're sitting around laughing, making up stuff. They ought to be ashamed. They should be. Okay? October 5th, 21, they were talking about it in front of a client in Huntington Bank. Wouldn't want Melissa to get no money out of this. That's okay. They knew they made everything up. They didn't want anybody to help her. We went to leave. He said, who's that crazy Melissa? They all talk about lying everywhere we go. The ex-daughter-in-law friends with ex's girlfriend. Had the kids make up some mean games to pretend on Thanksgiving of 18. He's like, they're still talking about it years later. That girl lying everywhere we go. October 23rd, 2019. Now, the investigators wouldn't tell me what they said. They said they'd make up something, call me a bad word. That's all they tell me. Because she made it up when I was out with Dave. She didn't make it up till the FBI case. That's why that agent didn't mention it. It wasn't made up till the FBI case. Okay? October 23rd, 2019. Matt Burrell's first party. And I'm talking, do you know how angry I was when I heard those kids say they wanted the house for Auntie Shaw and Papa and Grandma needed to get out? Flora's little. So she just blurts it out. That's not what they said. They said this, and it was filthy. Josh is like, ew, that's not true. Don't say it again. She starts giggling. Of course it's not true. Of course it never happened. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Sitting next to me. Laughing. Sucking her lips in. I would have spanked them all. They better thank God I'm not their mother. I was a kind of crazy mother. I would have marched you in front of the person you lied on, made you apologize, and then go around to everyone you lied to and Apologize to them for you lying to them. You would never lie on another person. My dad said sometimes you got to put the fear of God or the fear of you in them to make them good people. All right. I used to live on North Chapel, and the apartment building before where I was living, the second one close to the fence, in 21, there was a lady with little girls live there. Not only were they on 8/9/21, them talking about me being drugged and told to say it before, but they even told them they were lying. Melissa's kids. And they were outside talking about it. The two apartment buildings before where I lived, on the outside fence in 22, when I first moved in, there was people in there, and they would harass me. And then they were talking about Melissa's lies. They were talking about Melissa's lies all over Louisville, Canton, everywhere. They moved out in 22 and yelled out, "We found out they made everything up on you. We're sorry." If you go to Chapel Ridge Road, Fairlawn, if you turn off Chapel Ridge Road onto Fairlawn Street, there's a white apartment building. Off to the right. There were some bad people there that would harass me. They moved out like February, March of 23. And they told people in Louisville they made everything up on me, and no one said a word. Memorial Day weekend 21, I'm on Fairlawn Street, sitting on a front porch. That heavyset Michelle Lord drive by. The goons from Ravenna are at the end of the street. Now I'm just watching them. She's yelling at him, "Are you crazy? You can't enter a drug confession." Well, we just found out they drugged her and told her what to say before. In May of 21, I went to Pennsylvania, and they were talking about Melissa lying there, Kentucky and Illinois, because they sold the log into the case. Went viral, so they all knew. January 1926, they were talking about releasing Thanksgiving of 18, of having those kids lie. And John defended me. Last year in Myers and Alliance, they released it. A year before that, they released it in Alliance and Big Lots, and people were calling for Melissa's arrest. Last year on July 26, 25, down in Magnolia, at the Bell store, people were outside were calling for her arrest for her exploiting her children for profit. Okay. Starr County sheriffs were laughing at some guy named Kurt May of 21 if Kurt just found out those kids were lying slow. If you ever hear somebody around me talk to some guy named Kurt on the phone, telling everybody to stay out about it, it's not funny, the cops called him slow. Starr County sheriffs were, Then Massillon police, I went to Mount Carmel, Illinois in June 23rd to July 4th of 21. The people that weird Eric that laughed at everybody for falling for this November 18th, 22 was still stalking me, calling people phone. They were harassing me. I screamed out, "If you don't believe I'm innocent, call the Massillon police," yelled out their phone number. Street went quiet. And he yelled out, they said they're documented. Me games that pretend. She never hurt anyone. May 26, 24, Myers, North Main. Lady came in. I talked to the officers that work her case. They said it's ridiculous for anyone to insult her. She almost died to save everyone. They always knew she was drugged and told to say it before. And that tape of weird with yourself is nothing but washing in the shower. Washing yourself. And it's photoshopped. And it's ridiculous for anyone to insult her. She almost died to save children. So, that's where a year or two after um, my divorce, Melissa pulled a stunt on my son John. Okay? He was trying to get custody back of his kids. He called me and said, Mom, I need you to be a reliable name on the court record to pick up Kenzie Carrington. No. I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first one, let alone the second one. I'll lose my apartment. I barely make it now. He said, Mom, these are my kids. I'll lose them forever. I said, John, I barely make it now. One of my jobs only made like $10 an hour. I said, I don't get off the first one, let alone the second one. But Mom, these are my kids. I need you to be that reliable name to put on a court record. I couldn't help him. I barely made it. Okay? He lost his kids. He moved to Florida years ago. Remarried, started a church. Looks very happy. Okay? June 13th, 14th of 25, people found out they had somebody impersonate John riding around with him, asking him, asking people to help hurt me. My kid would never ask anybody to help hurt his mother, nor would he be part of having his mother being raped by drug dealers. He wasn't part of it. They had somebody impersonate him. They had somebody impersonate my mother. They had somebody impersonate Danny and Jen for the tape of Weird with Yourself, the shower scene. I went to them Christmas Eve of 22. They didn't know anything about it. They knew I had bruises, throwing up, and almost passing out in front of people. But they didn't know about button cameras. They didn't know about a shower scene. And they didn't know about drug confessions. Like Jen said, I didn't put it together. Somebody was harming you. She said, I seen you like that, and I didn't even put it together. They weren't part of it, and they were supposed to have been the ones reporting him. Then they had somebody impersonate Josh, and it wasn't Josh, trying to pull off their scam. Get the idea? These people are ridiculous. But them getting that agent to be mean to me on the phone while they're standing there. Do you realize how sick that is? They taped him. They got him. September 10th, 25. Tuscarawas County Courthouse. Where those people were supposed to be agents, I found out. March 5th, 26, Bell Store, Magnolia, by Sandy Valley Estate on Route 800. Okay? Said nobody thought it was funny, those agents showing up at the courthouse. They didn't know my case. It wasn't to follow me around to find someone. It's to find out who was responsible for the threats and Temple Life case. They didn't know my case. Drug dealer showed up afterwards. It was for who was responsible, not to find someone. See what I mean? And them calling her case fraud and calling her a liar, nobody thought that was funny. It's illegal. An agent opens a fraud case, it's 20 years. If insults this case as fraud, it's 20. It's defrauding the government. Get that here? And they're sending out emails supposed to be from that agent saying where they have him taped saying, say you're lying, I'll arrest you. Say you're lying, I'll put you in jail. And you can tell they taped over parts of it and then laughing at her like pure evil. None of that was funny. Then no one's allowed to help her or believe her. Do you know if a federal agent tells somebody not to help someone and not to believe them, it can go into the attempted murder? It's obstruction of justice and tampering with a witness. Abuse of authority. It's 20 years. Threatening a victim into a false statement is 20 years. Especially obstruction and tampering. And calling one a liar when they're trying to tell you what was going on. It's obstruction and tampering. They have him nailed for like 100 years. I pray for Agent John to do what's right. Then if they try to say you can't say anything, it's considered blackmail. It's a First Amendment of the Constitution. Only a judge can put a gag order on you. FBI agents are only hired police officers. They don't have the authority to ever ask anyone to stay quiet. It is a federal crime of blackmail, obstruction, and tampering with a witness. 20 to 30 years. They can't withhold your money. They can't misdirect it. It's for getting them information only and risking your life. If they try to take it, it's 20 years. That's how illegal everything that happened to me. Now think about the recorded line. Someone told on me the night before. You liar. Tell them about the guy that threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. Calls me a liar again. I tell him. He starts saying, was there a camera by the bench? I don't know. Say you're lying or I'll arrest you. I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before. And before I could say Derek Cobley seen him. He's like, oh, come on now, even if a church person seen him. They'd never verify it. Well, she did. That's why I didn't tell him about him. Taped her with her permission. She's seen him. He said, I met with that family in my office, the ones that were lying. Confessed to a federal agent. They lied about everything. And all the church people that were lying too. Putting on a big skit for him. Big performance. And I know they're trying to kill you, where I had medication error, medical malpractice. Fraud almost killed me. It took me 9 months to get well. That he met with all of them in his office. And I know they're trying to kill you. And he said, strangers lie, call me a faker, when he thought I was following Tim and Katie. I said, I really was sick before, you liar. Was there a camera above the bench or not? I don't know. You say you're lying or I'll put you in jail. You hear me? I'll come up and arrest you. You hear me? I'll put you in jail and I'll stay in our house. I'm like, fine. He's like, ha, 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 ha. That's a good 20 or 40. I want you to say you're faking you were sick. Well, I already told you what was wrong with me. Medical malpractice and fraud took me 9 months to get well. Don't give fentanyl to fakers. He said, I met with that family in my office, the big liars. And all those church people, the big liars. Big performance act. I heard about it. And I know they're trying to kill you. And he said strangers lie about covering up Tim and Kitty when he thought I was following him back in November 2003. And it was Linda following her husband. Yeah. Met with that family in my office and all those church people. I know they're trying to kill you. And he said strangers lie. And I said, I really was sick before, you liar. He said, I don't even blame him for trying to kill you. He actually says that like an investigator said. I almost fell out of my chair. He actually talks to her like that. I know he does. He said, you either say you're faking or I'll leave you there. You hear me? I'll leave you there. But they're going to kill me. So they've tried to kill me. So then say it or I'll leave you there. It's like, fine, don't let him kill me. Jackass. He said, give me a real reason why the FBI should help you. I said, well, they're going to try to kill me. So they've tried to kill me. So the other agent said, well, we could always use Pete's tape. Or word with yourself. The shower scene, the other. I don't even know who Pete is today. Only Pete I knew was my brother Medina. I hadn't seen him in years. Talked to him on the phone. I said, what are you talking about? He starts laughing at me. Stops, you know, says something again. I've never met him. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I bet you're going to say you don't know anything about this psychiatrist for sexual disorders of one of your brother. At that point, I almost yelled at him, why don't you stop lying? While he's laughing at me. I said, I don't know who you're talking about or what. Here it's my ex-husband, his girlfriend's father, and drug friends playing with me. Where they were stabbing me with hypnotic drugs. Thought it was fucking funny. I don't find them funny. Dave told Danny April 16th, 23. Watched Danny walk up to Shay and Gabe after Jen's mom's memorial service. Said, I finally went to Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in our home before. Pete has a frame. Pete has her tape the filthy, dirty statement. Just some guy Dave hired. I've never met. Black and blue mark. Wasn't a doctor. They said it was a drug deal. And then I thought, why had that other lady use my insurance? Maybe one of hers. But nope. It's just a big scam. He said, give me a real reason. My brother-in-law, Craig Davis, worked at the Pentagon. He was a private consultant for the FBI, unrestricted, did war weapons, spyware, went undercover and traveled the world. His one boss was a spook. Okay? All right. So, he said, well, first of all, have you talked to any law enforcement about threats in your life? I said, the only 2 officers I've ever talked to was the August 8th of 18 midnight, light in the security system outside. They showed up, told me it looked like an alien orb, angry spirit, and told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They didn't want bothered. You're kidding, right? I said, no, matter of fact, I've never even had my neighbors in my home. I've only had family and repair guys and installation guys. Is that what's going on? Do you know if Dave's cheating? I said, I've never caught him. She starts laughing. She said she never caught him. December 9th, 18th, Dave verified. I never caught him. So why is that funny? It's not. He said, I could take you somewhere and leave you with no money. I said, I don't have any money to start. Well, if you agree to get information on Dave and the churches, I can open an informant case. It comes with like $5,000 a month, something like that. I can load on the money on the card today. I said, I can do that. Okay. I'll be out in a minute.
He's right there.
Okay. All right, I'll be out in a minute, honey. Sorry. Try to get a moment of peace to do these tapes. I'll wrap this up real quick. He said, you'll have a life of peace as an informant. Nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you would we do this for. We'll always put it back as if it never happened, and you can't be legally charged again for anything for working this case. Admit to no wrongdoing, and I'll take care of everything in the end. But if you try to tell someone, I'll tell people you're crazy, the FBI won't help you. 14th Amendment, you cannot withhold protection from any U.S. citizen for any jurisdiction. And if an FBI agent tries to tell any kind of law enforcement or anybody they can't help you, it can go into attempted murder. It's abuse of authority, and it's obstruction to justice and tampering with a witness. It's 20 years. They tell you can't say anything. It's blackmail. 20 years. He said, but if you need help, the chief of police of Canton's my best friend. And he's a really good man. You can trust him. He'll always make sure the Canton police protect you. I told Walter Moss from the Stark County Prosecutor's Office when he worked there. He laughed till he cried. He said, first of all, the only thing he did legal on that whole phone call was list your informant with money and immunity. He said, you don't understand, Karen. You're in one of the many witness protection programs. You're not only in an informant case, but a threat and attempt to life case that can never be closed. You get the money for risking your life to get him information. He cannot make up his own rules or restrictions. And
he can't make the delivery without this code.
Okay.